The Bahagian Pengurusan Risiko dan Inspektorat (BPIN) is the cornerstone of safety, health and risk management at MARA. Its mission is simple but vital: to create a safe and conducive environment for employees, students and stakeholders while ensuring full compliance with law and regulation. At the heart of BPIN's work is the goal of embedding a culture of safety and health into MARA's daily operation. By setting clear standards and guidelines, BPIN ensures that risks are proactively managed and potential legal consequences are avoided. BPIN develop and implement risk management strategy that align with MARA objective. It identify, monitor and evaluate risks, effectively addressing gaps in current framework to adapt to ever-changing operational challenge. The division enforces compliance with safety and health regulation across MARA's center and monitor their effectiveness using tools like MARA Performance Measurement System or SPMAA, regular inspection and proactive measure ensure risk and mitigate before they escalate. By fostering continuous improvement and collaborating with other organizations to adopt best practice, BPIN strengthens MARA's reputation as a forward-thinking and responsible institution. BPIN is more than a division, it is a backbone of safe and resilient MARA.
Next is HIRAC procedure. The objective of HIRAC procedure is to ensure workplace safety at MARA Administration Center by conducting hazard identification, risk assessment, and risk control HIRAC for all activities. This fulfills employees' obligation under the Occupational Safety and Health Act 1994. The scope of the HIRAC procedure is applicable to all MARA Administration Center covering activities like management, operation, skill training, education and maintenance. HIRAC procedure have 4 key definitions. Number 1 is hazard, number 2 is risk, number 3 is risk assessment and number 4 is risk control. Number 1, hazard. It's source or condition with potential to cause harm like injury, health issues, property or environmental damage. Next is risk. Risk split into 2, likelihood and severity. Likelihood is a chance of the hazardous event. Severity is extent of harm caused. Number 3 is risk assessment. It's evaluate workplace safety risk from hazard. And the last one is risk control. Implement measure to reduce risk following the hierarchy of control. It starts from elimination, substitution, engineering controls, administrative control, and the last one is PPE.
I will be presenting on hazard analysis with a specific focus on the MARA framework and its approach to ensuring safety in the workplace. Hazard analysis is essential in identifying and managing risks to protect workers, property, and the environment. Let's begin by understanding what exactly a hazard is. So, a hazard can be defined as a source, condition, or act that has the potential to cause harm. This harm can manifest in the form of injuries, illnesses, or property damage. In the context of workplace safety, identifying these hazards early is crucial to prevent accidents or losses. So, the HIRAC framework is an important part of the hazard analysis process, which HIRAC stands for hazard identification, which is the first step where we look for potential sources of harm in the workplace. And then we have risk assessment, which is after identifying the hazards, we assess their potential risks by evaluating how likely they are to occur and what their severity could be. And then we have risk control, which we implement control measures to mitigate or eliminate the risk identified, which this could range from simple measures like using personal protective equipment to more advanced methods like engineering controls. We move on to process overview, which is the process of hazard analysis can be seen into 3 key steps: identify, assess, and control. So identify is we start by evaluating the hazards present in the workplace environment. Assess we assess the risk by determining the likelihood and severity of each identified hazard, which this is crucial in understanding which risks require more urgent attention. And lastly, we apply risk control measures. These measures can include eliminating the hazard, substituting a less risky alternative, or using engineering controls to minimize the hazard's impact. And then we move to compliance with OSHA and MARA policies, which compliance with safety regulation is crucial in any workplace. In the case of MARA, our hazard analysis process adjusts to the Occupational Safety and Health Act of 1994, which sets out safety and health regulations for all workplaces. In addition, we follow specific MARA policies that ensure we met local standards for risk management, keeping everyone in the organization safe and compliant. And last, we have documentation, which all findings, actions, and improvements from the hazard analysis must be documented. This documentation includes risk records and monitoring reports, which must be regularly updated. Keeping accurate records is vital for tracking risk mitigation efforts and ensuring continuous improvement in safety practices. So, following the HIRAC framework is essential in preventing accidents and minimizing risk in the workplace. By identifying, assessing, and controlling hazards, we can maintain a safer environment for everyone. Remember, the key to a successful hazard analysis process is compliance, documentation, and ongoing assessment.
Hi, my name is Mohammed and my student ID number is 2023734659. Now I'm going to talk about risk assessment. Every workplace has hazards, and understanding how to identify, evaluate, manage this risk is critical to ensuring safety, compliance, and efficiency. Firstly, what is risk? Simply put, it's a combination of two factors: the likelihood of a hazardous event happening and the impact it might have. A systematic approach to risk assessment helps organizations protect their people, comply with legal standards, and prevent unnecessary losses. Key element of risk assessment. Number 1. Definition of risk. Risk can be understood as a balance of probability and consequences. By analyzing these two dimensions, we can make informed decisions about which hazard need immediate attention and how to manage them effectively. Number 2. Steps in risk assessment. Identifying risk. Start by determining potential hazards in the workplace. This could include physical dangers like machinery, chemical exposure, or ergonomic issues such as repetitive strain. Engaging employees and conducting thorough inspections are key to this step. Next, evaluating risk. Once hazards are identified, assess their likelihood, how often they might happen, and severity, how harmful the consequences could be. A common formula to determine the risk level is likelihood times severity, and you will get the risk level. Next, controlling risk. To manage risk, apply the hierarchy of controls. This include number 1, elimination, removing the hazard completely. Number 2, substitution, replacing it with something less hazardous. Number 3, engineering controls, isolating people from the hazard. Number 4, administrative control, adjusting policies or procedure. And lastly, PPE, personal protective equipment, providing protective gear as a last line of defense. Number 3, risk metric. A risk metric categorizes hazard into low, medium, high, or critical, helping prioritize actions. Critical risk demand immediate mitigation, while lower risk might only need periodic monitoring. Number 4, compliance. Following safety laws like the Occupational Safety and Health Act, OSHA 1994, ensures legal compliance. Additionally, adhering to internal policies such as those of MARA strengthen organizational accountability and safety culture. And lastly, documentation and monitoring. Risk assessment doesn't stop after implementation. Regularly update records, review the effectiveness of control, and adapt to changing workplace conditions. This ensures ongoing safety and alignment with the best practice. To sum up, risk assessment is not just a regulatory requirement. It's a proactive step toward building a safer, more resilient workplace. By understanding risk, prioritizing actions using tools like the risk metric, and maintaining compliance, organizations can minimize hazard and enhance productivity.
Hi everyone, my name is Aifah Fika bin Jasmi. I'm going to continue the presentation about risk control. Actions taken to eliminate or reduce risk to levels that are considered safe and acceptable. Okay, the goal is to protect workers from harm and ensure a safe working environment. Okay, we have hierarchy of controls, which is a systematic approach to managing risk. At the top of this hierarchy is elimination, where we completely remove the hazard from the workplace. For example, replacing a dangerous chemical with a safer one. Okay, if elimination is not possible, we use substitution. This means replacing a hazardous material or process with a safer alternative. For example, using less toxic substance in place of harmful chemicals. Next is engineering controls. These are physical changes to the workplace that isolate people from hazards, such as installing safety barriers around dangerous machinery or using ventilation system to remove toxic fumes. If none of the above controls are feasible, we move to administrative controls, which involve changing work policies or producer to limit exposure to risk. This could include rotating workers to reduce exposure time to a harmful environment. Okay, next is personal protective equipment. PPE comes in as the last line of defense. PPE is like helmets, okay, gloves or safety goggles should only be used when all other control measures are either impractical or insufficient. Okay, next let's discuss the implementation phase. Once risks are identified, it's crucial to assess the feasibility and cost effectiveness of each control measure. This means evaluating how practical and affordable each control is before applying it. It's also important to prioritize higher level controls like elimination and substitution, since they offer better long-term risk reduction compared to less effective measures like PPE. Next, we move on the monitoring and review phase. Regular inspections and reviews are essential to ensure that the controls are still effective. As new risks or changes arise, it's important to adjust these controls accordingly to maintain a safe environment. Finally, let's talk about compliance. All risk control measures should align with MARA safety standards and the OSHA 1994. Adhering to this regulation ensures that we meet legal safety requirements and maintain a high standard of workplace safety. In summary, effective risk control involves proper planning, regular monitoring, and compliance with safety standards. By following this step, we can minimize risk and create a safer, healthier work environment for everyone. Thank you.